Okay, so today in my comedy slot number 2, this is going to be, I'm going to watch Full House for the first time until I laugh once and then the whole series is over. So this is more like the try not to laugh challenge, as I'm already laughing at the premise and how wild my formats can be, but this has been fun. But what I'll do after this is I'll add a third slot. So now let's review my slots. My first slot is comedy slot 1. That's where I watch a series until an episode fails to make me laugh. So every episode has to make me laugh at least once, and the way I define a laugh is like a genuine, audible, uncontrollable, full-on laugh. Not like, just a smirk or a little, it has to be like, not that I have to like laugh out loud or like a long one, but just like an actual laugh. So let's think about like what series have I done in comedy slot 1 so far. I did The Big Bang Theory, where episode 2 failed to make me laugh. Episode 1, Sheldon got a laugh with some line about he's just saying matter-of-factly, like they're meeting Penny for the first time. He's like, what did you guys do today? And he's like, oh, we masturbated for money or something like that, because they had been to a sperm bank. So even though the sperm bank scene itself wasn't funny, the way he said that so matter-of-factly in his delivery, that actor is very good, and Sheldon is funny, but obviously the rest of the show is a one trick, like we get it, they're nerds over and over, they keep beating like a dead horse. So I only got to episode 2 there, episode 2 failed to make me laugh. So then we moved on to the next one, but I keep alternating, like I won't do it right away, I'll do the other series in order, like all the other slots. But that was the first one we did. Then the second one we did, I think, was just, it was just the most recent one then, right? It would have been Curb Your Enthusiasm, unless I did something in the middle, I can't remember. But I think it was Curb Your Enthusiasm, and so that episode 1 failed to make me laugh, even though, again, it wasn't that it was bad or unenjoyable, but just somehow, it wasn't really funny. There were a few moments when we get the classic music that we've heard so much about and that we've seen in memes and stuff. But no, that failed to make me laugh. And then comedy slot number 2 is the one, then we go to horror slot number 1. So horror slot number 1, I watched a couple things that actually failed to materialize. I first tried to watch Evil Lives Here, because I thought it was horror. I'm just going into these things completely blind, which leads to some stupid and sometimes hilarious results. Like, Evil Lives Here is not a horror series, but since I started, and of course I'm driving while I do these, I went with it, but it doesn't count. So that's like a documentary type series where it's like about horrific things, I guess, like criminals living with a criminal, and that turned into some kind of other format altogether, where I kept making fun of the so-called the spouse of this crazy killer, that she's so delusional that she would stay with him for this long, even after he's doing all these fishy things. So that one didn't count. So then I think after that I watched Lovecraft Country, and that was a garbage pilot. Not only did it not scare me, but so basically the point is comedy slot 1 and horror slot 1 are inverse of each other. The comedy slot is I watch until, or no, maybe they're not, hang on. The comedy is I watch until an episode fails to make me laugh. Then the horror one is I watch until an episode fails to scare me. No, so they are the same. So Lovecraft Country, the episode failed to scare me, episode 1, and it was just an unenjoyable episode overall. So then I stopped that. Then we move on to comedy slot 2, in which we're able to basically, I could be forgetting something. I'm trying to review everything I've done so far in this, but then comedy slot number 2 is supposed to be watch until I laugh, period. So almost like a try not to laugh challenge. So then that one I watched, what did I watch in that? I watched Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. That might not have been the first one, but Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And then that one did make me laugh, so I stopped at exactly the point that I laughed. And that wasn't even a series, I thought it was, but it was a precursor to that, and it's like a special. So I stopped watching with like 20 some odd minutes left, and it's because I laughed at this guy talking in the car, like, telling some story about a girl who had sex with somebody and then their heart exploded and they died, and just the gleeful way, sadistic way, it's like dark humor almost, if it's even meant to be funny at all, it kind of got me there. And so then I stopped watching there. Then the other horror slot is horror slot number 2, is a slot in which I watch what series in particular. I watched, what was it? Horror Slot 2, I watched some other series first, and then I watched The Witch. And both of these are watching until, or no, maybe it was the first. I haven't been doing this for too long, but I don't know why I feel like I've watched multiple things in some of these slots. Horror Slot 2, I watched The Witch, and so that one is a movie actually, because I couldn't find any good horror series really, or at least on HBO Max. Like, I know American Horror Story I would want to watch, but it's not on here. Or maybe even like The Walking Dead can count as that, but I don't think of it as horror as much as like just drama and stuff. But basically, I watched The Witch, and that was Watch Until I Get Scared, and so that one, I didn't get scared, so I just watched the whole thing, the whole movie. And so now, we're back to Comedy Slot 1, where I'm able to watch until an episode fails to make me laugh, right? So if I laugh every episode, I'll watch the whole thing, or wait a second. No, wait, this is supposed to be Comedy Slot. No, this is Comedy Slot 2, where I'm watching until I laugh, period. So if I don't laugh, then I'll watch the whole series. Because we just did the Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I did that until an episode failed to make me laugh. So that's the other one. But what I'm saying now is, I'll add another slot in here, a third slot, right? So after this one, this is Comedy Slot, this is Comedy Slot number 1, no. This is Comedy Slot number 2, where I watch until I laugh. And then we'll have Horror Slot number... I'm actually kind of out of order. How does this make sense? Because I just did the horror thing. I just did The Witch, right? So if I just did The Witch, that would have been Horror Slot number 2, right? And I tried to watch 30 Coins, but that didn't work out either. So I just watched The Witch, but I don't understand, because if I just watched The Witch, that would be Horror Slot number 2, where I'm watching until I get scared. So now why are we back in Comedy Slot number... I don't know. But we watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. That was the last comedy one. So Curb Your Enthusiasm I watched until episode fails to make me laugh, so that's the first one. So now we're doing comedy. I guess it's because The Witch lasted like 2 seconds. I don't fucking know. The Witch was watch until you get scared, right? So that's supposed to be Horror Slot number 2. So reasonably, the way it's gone is, I would have watched The Big Bang Theory for Comedy 1, then I would have watched Lovecraft Country for Horror 1, then I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm for Comedy Slot 2, right, like Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm, then I watched... So Larry David was Try Not to Laugh, right? The Curb Your Enthusiasm. Then we rotated back over from that to Try Not to Laugh for a series. To every time it fails to make you laugh for an episode. So that was just Curb Your Enthusiasm. So now we're at the other comedy slot. Basically the point is, we'll watch Full House. I've heard good things about it, and I have just heard about it in general, like it's a well-known, well-regarded series. However, I don't know really anything about it, and it's one of these older school ones, so it might not be something that I really find funny, but we'll watch until it makes me laugh, right? And then so it's basically Try Not to Laugh. Again, might not be that hard. Some of these things, like if I had done this format with Curb Your Enthusiasm, then I would have still been watching it probably because, or at least today, because it didn't make me laugh. It failed to make me laugh in the first episode. So these are kind of the inverse of each other. And so we'll start in a second here, but this is like one of those old school ones that might not be funny at all, just as a warning. But it is at least listed as a comedy series, and I don't know what the premise of it even is. It's going to be like some family type, whatever. It's a Full House, right? Like what could that title possibly mean? Like, I don't even know. So we're starting in 3, 2, 1. No, I fucked it up. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Damn it, it's not working. I'll have to pull over and do it, because this always just works so well. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I'm trying to think. I haven't seen too many sitcoms in full. I haven't, probably Seinfeld is the only one. Sometimes you see certain episodes in the background, but I basically haven't seen hardly any ever. And even just what I have seen, probably just bits and pieces, like King of Queens I've seen a little, or How I Met Your Mother I saw a lot, but that's also like a drama in a lot of ways. Oh yeah, like maybe The Cosby Show. Some of these, like, I've never seen that, so we'll see how long does it take for The Cosby Show to make me laugh. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air I saw a good amount of as a kid. But again, I don't know how funny I found it. It was just kind of more just enjoyable to watch. Like, it was just a nice, fun show, but it wasn't, I guess I don't find many things very funny. I remember this one episode where, like, Carlton is using drugs or something, and that was such a shock to the system, kind of, for a lot of viewers of the show, probably, because it's like, yes, it would deal with drama a little bit, but that was kind of an extreme. You know, he's using drugs, or he gets caught, and Will is blamed for it, but actually he says it's his, Carlton takes the blame or whatever. But I think it actually was his, because he was trying to use it to take a test or something, right? Like, the way that people sometimes do, like, what show was I just watching? The Sopranos. That happened too. That was the original, or that was around the same time, 1999. I don't know when that came out exactly, Fresh Prince, but, like, the girl Meadow, his daughter, is trying to take drugs for to help her, like, study for a test, or to do the test itself. So we'll start here in a second, and we'll just try to see again. We'll watch this until it makes us laugh. I'm kind of disorganized with the order in which I have done some of these series, though. Like, how would it make sense? Maybe I did 30 coins in the other slot, so, like, 30 coins was supposed to be, but that one didn't count, right? So we skipped it. That one was watch until an episode fails to scare me, but then I just said fuck it, and then we did a movie instead. So I almost did just skip one thing. Can you imagine that the first series I actually started with overall was Girls? Of all the series, starring Allison Williams, of all the series you could possibly do, right? When, starting this whole format of watching shows in general, of all the shows you could possibly do, that's the one I chose just at random. But no, basically here you have a position of, it's called our very first show. Most pilots are just called pilot, but I like it when they're not. So it's only 24 minutes long, and some of these pilot episodes are longer even than the normal length within the series. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, start. And it's not starting. When I hit start, oh, you know why? Because it's like skip intro, but I'm not trying to skip the intro. I don't mind seeing the intro. Are you serious right now? Like, why is this so fucking hard to do? This is dumb. I always like to include the intro in there because, god damn it, man. It's not that long, so I'll still have time to watch the whole thing, but this is kind of stupid. Oh my god. So we'll start in a second. I can't believe how user unfriendly this actually is. This is garbage, though. The fact that it's also horizontal force, like sort of landscape. So we're not going to skip the intro necessarily this time. So we'll start in 3, 2, 1, start. No, it won't fucking work. So it says skip intro, but it's not. So minus 24:30, starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so there we go. We start. So you have the theme song and a little baby's face there. So yeah, I mean, all I can think of that I would know about it or guess about it is it's a family drama series. Starring John Stamos, Bob Saget, oh shit, I didn't know that, Dave Collier, Candace Cameron doing the pose before it was a big thing. Jodie Sweet, like, where even though she's young, obviously, this show should be banned. This was directed by Dan Schneider. She's sexualizing a girl doing the pose, like laying on her stomach with her feet up in the air. Even though it's not there, it's like this is the kind of extrapolation that people do, like quiet on set, like where it's fucking, having a girl do that could be considered whatever, because whatever, man. Like, I'm not saying Dan Schneider didn't do anything wrong, but the way they try. Oh, I've heard this song too, obviously. I mean, maybe I somehow know the song is associated with the series. I feel like maybe I've seen a meme or a reference of it just in that sense, but created by Jeff Franklin. So, like, what is really the premise, though, about, right? It's got to be more than just, oh, it's just a family. Produced by Richard Coral, but it went on for 8 seasons, and kids running in circles, the laugh track. As much as I hate laugh tracks, gives me a good chance to talk in between. That's a dark way to start with somebody dying. The first joke of the series was the baby is sleeping like a baby. Not exactly brilliant writing. I just look down on sort of these older series that they won't be funny at all. They'll play it sort of too conservative. You might hear me sniffing, but that's not me laughing. My nose is stuffed. There's kind of a moderately amusing effect with them like running in circles at the beginning. Okay, her delivery there was at least moderate. That was like a smirk. Smirk-worthy delivery. This guy's delivery is pretty funny, at least. A little psychological manipulation by the kid. They're exploiting children for laughs because, oh, look, they're so cute. Exploiting child actors. That was at least a cool way to make an entrance with the clothes covering you like that. Some of the delivery is pretty good, even if this is like 2.5 Men have Alan move in as the premise on the first episode. So this guy likes to play with the kids, the other guy doesn't. So when the guy didn't want to play, you wanted it. Now when this other guy is playing, they don't like it. So who actually died? I missed. Probably the mom died. Some of these lines are pretty funny though. So it's not that we're living for free. You're basically babysitters. You're in a pretty good mood considering your wife or girlfriend or whatever died 3 months ago. But don't hug me. That would have been a better line. That's toxic masculinity that you reject hugs. They're trying to get you with the delivery. Like the acting and the way they say stuff. What they're saying might not be funny at all, but just the way they say it can sometimes get me. That's my weakness. Or like they're using a lot of physical comedy already with respect to how the guy came in with the clothes on top of him and this and that. Good one. Just hanging around. Not only exploiting a character's death to draw interest, but also exploiting the kids. What a shameless series already. He's a sports writer like Ray Romano, so Everybody Loves Raymond copied this, and 2.5 Men. I don't think I'd feel safe actually with these guys looking after the kid, but you got the other older kid to take care of them. Wait, where did she come from if... Oh, maybe she died in childbirth, the regular Padme. He's even a comic too, so they try to have an advantage. Seinfeld copied this, that you're portraying a comic in one of the lead roles. You know, this guy's a comedian, I guess, where he does voices and stuff. That's why he's so good with kids. He's giving me almost Robin Williams vibes a little bit. Patch Adams style clown tomfoolery. Exploiting an even younger baby for comedy now. Probably shouldn't go that fucking fast. Why are they rushing it so much? Go slow with it. Meat racks are more for dead things, though. Or that's always bad when, like, you come up with a better line than what they actually say, potentially. That's what's kind of fun for me. Sometimes I come up with theories and series and stuff like that I end up liking better than what actually happens, right? Something more interesting or a line that's better. So if I laugh at my own line, it doesn't count. Why you gotta do this in the kitchen, dude? It's fucking bathroom for a reason. You're gonna ruin this guy's fucking kitchen. Or how much of this can you really show? Like, you can show, like really in the first episode you got a baby's butt to try to get laughs. I mean, it's a real baby, I'm sure. It's not like a toy. He's getting a lot of physical comedy, a lot of desperate stuff, a lot of exploiting kids. I'm not really that impressed here. I'm more interested in the drama of who died and whatever. I missed whatever. I like this younger girl's attitude. Nobody asked me. That was like the good punchline, that she's just doing it to troll. And why the fuck did you do that in the kitchen? They're all overwhelmed. The obligatory. That's often how comedy is. That's the weakness. Like, what you see is what you get, or what you expect is what you get. Like, it's on the nose. You can predict every scene because they're going to just keep beating the same joke like a dead horse, or it's very obvious and predictable. He deserves it after a long day of work. Being good with kids is a good way to show off to a girl, though, right? The paternal instinct shows right, like, show that you have the paternal instinct, and then she'll want to bang you and become a mom, so you can be her daddy, baby daddy. Yeah, what's so funny about this scene? This is kind of actually disturbing. Oh, here we go. Nobody asked me. Count two. They've put in a lot of special effects type work with props and stuff like that just for... This didn't age too well. Oh shit, they didn't know what they were really saying here. Trying to tempt a young girl with Jell-O. Is that his way of saying the baby should eat shit? Because that was I'm kind of too cynical and dark for this. What the hell does that have to do with anything? She only went up a buck this time, so that kind of has a fair quality to it. She didn't say for how long, though. After he gave up $20, no less. That's why he was so motivated. Better than a Jell-O quoting a molester. You got to realize these plot lines are always constrained to the same sets over and over, so it's only so adventurous that they can be. Right, you're always going to be in the house, you're always going to be... So it's the mom who died. So you're going to guilt her over the death of her mom to try to get her to do what she's saying. And meanwhile, you're a callous, apathetic, ignorant father, is what she's saying. You piece of shit. He lost his husband, his wife, so we go easy on him, but... all we have is each other. Every episode will have, like, one moment of like this drama about the mom's death. This is actually pretty good. Like, this is a good dramatic scene. She doesn't look 10 even. That's a nice way to, at least. One thing might break it up if you make me laugh, but you failed completely to do it. This series would have an easier time making you cry than laugh. Like, whatever. That was a good scene at least. I was not expecting that sort of a dark, tragic element to it. It's gonna be hard to direct the kid every episode, though. Right, the little baby. I love when they say, that's a full house as soon as they have the baby. With you, it's a full house. I mean, it wasn't even a bad episode. I'd give it like a C. I do like the drama involving the death of the mother, and almost on a serious level. Right, that works. The Mentalist copied that. How they always, the death of Jane's wife and kid is always like, the episode will be about other stuff, and then at the end they'll just have like one reference to it to remind you, right, where he's kind of sad at the end after solving a case. It was kind of the same prop type technique. You have all this comedy and other physical comedy and stuff going on. It's a very heavy physical comedy type thing, where they're even using these props and sets and her hanging on the blinds and stuff like that, and whatever, like on the phone. So it's trying to appeal to physical comedy, as well as just the comedy of them being young, the delivery of some of the kids. They're using the kids a little too much in that way, though. Right, and so that is something that almost people would not like, but, whatever. We'll come to find out some conspiracy about it, that, they mistreated the kids, or blah, blah, blah. But the point is that some showbiz executives, kids no doubt, too, who get special privileges to get the role. But no, the point is that it wasn't a bad episode, wasn't really too funny. Some of the delivery was borderline smirk-worthy, and so now you're in a position where I'm going to keep watching it until I do laugh. But no, that's kind of the technique, right? You have like one dramatic element in a series that either isn't dramatic or is dramatic in other ways, and so that's the overarching narrative that you can keep coming back to, like, so those are all the shows that copied this. Not that they really did, but I'm just making fun of it, like, this, what was the one? The guy's moving in the first episode, so that's the premise, like Alan moving in because he gets divorced with his wife, Judith, in 2.5 Men, or something to do with the baby, or the death of a loved one. Like what would be what was the other one I said? Like, you could even say The Mentalist. That's like the whole trope in the backdrop. Like, he lost his wife and kid, and now he's spending the whole series trying to avenge them by catching the man who killed them. And so at the end of every episode, it's like, he's drinking from his teacup, and that reminds him of his wife, and then he's sad, and that's how the episode ends. Or, they use that a lot. I'm not even saying it's a bad technique, but that's kind of the same thing here, where it's like, every episode will end with he'll be looking at a picture of his wife and lamenting the loss after everything is, he'll be at a bar with a friend, and some girl will ask him out, and he'll say, no, I'm sorry, I'm married. And then he'll look at his ring that he still wears. And then you'll know as the audience, like, even though she's been dead, he's still, not ready to move on, and still wears the ring and shows that kind of respect. So those kind of moments that will still keep coming up, right? And so the other point is that the other point is that, what other series was I referencing? They copied, like, let's say, Two and a Half Men copied, or The Mentalist I just bring up in every... See, that was, like, even a laugh, but I'm laughing at my own thing, not the show. That, or even using kids as humor, like with Jake in Two and a Half Men or something. I brought up one other series, but now I can't remember actually what it was. But no, it's, like even Robin Williams, Patch Adams type thing. Not Patch Adams, what's that other one? The Mrs. Doubtfire, how the guy's actually like a comic in character. I feel like I referenced some other show, but I can't remember now what it was. Two men and a baby type of environment though here. So yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know what else to say about it. The whole death of the wife aspect definitely surprised me. Some of that family drama was at least remotely interesting, but it could be a long time before I laugh in the series. This is why it would be cool. Whatever moment does do it will be super memorable. It'll be like, I lasted like a whole season, and then the season finale gets me, or like episode 26 gets me or something, and it's like, whatever that moment is going to be iconic to me forever, because it's like, that's the moment that got me, despite my best efforts, despite how long I lasted, right? Like, that'll be a super epic moment, whatever it is, that actually gets me. So, it didn't really get me anywhere. Some of the delivery, like I said, is good. So it's relying on all things that have nothing to do with the material, right? Like, the actual dialogue wasn't really that funny at all. But the delivery, the way they say it, the actors are themselves pretty good, the kids included. And then also, it's a case where not only are the actors good and the delivery, but also the physical comedy and some of the visuals of just what's happening. Some people find it funny just seeing the baby. Just whatever, babies are inherently cute and funny. They're exploiting that angle. The girl hanging on the blinds, doing a stunt almost. Some of these special effects elements, just running around the house, running in circles, all these kind of things. So, again, it wasn't really funny, but it also wasn't as old-timey as I thought, though. Like, there is some sexual humor, like how they think, they're talking about Vanessa at the beginning, and they're like, oh yeah, we were gonna eat. Maybe more like eat her out, haha. But basically, they're alluding to that, but then they don't actually say it. So it's family friendly, despite making sort of references. But yeah, imagine you're watching this with your family, like it's a family comedy show. What would you explain? What are they talking about? Why is that funny that they're talking about eating? Right? You'd have to have the birds and the bees talk right after this, after episode 1 of Full House. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never seen I Love Lucy either. We could watch that until I laugh. So this is what this kind of opens up. So now to figure out the rest of my schedule, these ones I kind of like, at least for this purpose, because they're at least a little shorter. Some of the other series, if I watch during this drive, I can barely get through it because it's basically almost the length of the drive. And I did kind of have a stuffed nose, so it's not even like, oh, I'm using that to cover up potentially laughing. There was one line that I almost laughed at in a different kind of way, but I still didn't. But it's like, where I said, oh, that's kind of like a cute line or something. I can't remember what it was. But no, it doesn't actually count as a laugh. So the horror stuff has failed to scare... Well, see, I haven't watched a thing like that yet for horror. Like, watching until I get scared, but I just would never get scared, so I end up watching the whole goddamn series, which is still fine, too. Right? It's more like a try to get scared challenge rather than a try not to get scared. Whereas with laughter, I used to be even more sort of cold towards stuff like that, but now at least whatever. I'm more likely to laugh now at something, but it's very rare. Like, I think of with Seinfeld. The only moments in Seinfeld that I remember actually probably laughing is like with the Moyle, because his acting is so crazy, and maybe like with Bookman or somebody like that. Right, but other than that, I pretty much wouldn't have even laughed there. So if I had watched that like this, I wouldn't have necessarily watched the whole thing. I would have, until an episode fails to make me laugh. If I did it in that format, that's what would happen. So it doesn't mean even that the series is bad, but it's just sort of holding it to a high standard and things like that. Although this one isn't holding it to a high standard, it's almost the opposite. It's almost to imply that it isn't funny. That like, oh, let's see, watching Amy Schumer until I laugh, and it'll take like forever. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't what I even entirely expected. It was a little more ahead of its time than I thought. Like, this is like what, 1987, so it's like I expected maybe a lot of the humor to be more antiquated and old-fashioned, but it wasn't completely out of touch necessarily.